Hey everyone, Dylan Schumacher, Citadel Defense, and welcome back to another episode of Knight Rider. Excuse me, I got the hiccups here apparently when I started recording. I tried to wait until I didn't have the hiccups, but I thought they were done. I don't know. We'll find out. Maybe I'll edit those out. I'll try to be easy to listen to here as I work through that. If you have not been to a Knight Rider episode before, welcome. This is one of our long-form content videos. So we're just going to hang out for a long time. We're going to talk for a while and hopefully arrive at some philosophical musings, philosophical conclusions together, and go on the journey of thinking. So I'm recording this on November 5th, November 6th. What's today? Hold on. The day after the election, November 6th. The day after the election. And I got some thoughts, right? So Trump won, in case you've somehow are the last person on earth to find that out. So that's cool, and was fairly excited about that. If you follow me on Twitter, I was pretty active on Twitter today. So I was happy. I was celebrating, which leads me to the purpose of this video, because I wasn't intending to make this video until, I don't know, a couple hours ago, and I was thinking about it, and there's kind of 2 or 3 kind of general reactions from the right that I've seen. Right, the reaction from the left is mostly just like it's kind of the freak out, screaming. Lots of great videos out there about that. If you're into watching people make videos of themselves crying and then posting it on the internet, which I would never recommend, honestly, to intentionally record a video of you having a meltdown and then place that on the internet for people to see. That's not a good move. Anyway, so been watching those videos, and on the reaction on the right, been thinking about this, and it falls down to a couple general categories. One is just open mockery, right, of the left, and kind of disdain of like, well, this is your comeuppance, this is how you treated us, and now we're in charge, and how do you like it? I feel that, I understand that. And the other one, maybe there's one is kind of like, oh, it's time to come together and reconcile now and be a country, and I'm kind of whatever about that because, again, I remember being threatened to go to prison for refusing to take an experimental injection, so different topic. And then the last one, which becomes the subject of this video, which is something to the effect of, this isn't it. Like you, well, okay, we won, but you got to stay vigilant, you got to keep working, you got to keep grinding. I don't know if you've ever seen or read Harry Potter. If not, you should. I'm a Lord of the Rings fan. I'm also a Harry Potter fan. I know in our current cultural climate, you're not supposed to be both of those things, but I am. I'm both of those things. And the movie's very well done, very faithfully done to the ethos of the books, I would say. And in the movies, and I don't quite remember how it goes down in the books because it's been a long time. In the end, the last book, second to last movie, I think, because the last book in the movies is 2 movies. They milked that sucker for all it's worth. In the last book, there's a wedding, and if you're not unfamiliar with the characters, you might lose me a little bit here, but stick with me, okay? There's a point, I promise. One of the Weasleys is getting married, and so they're having this wedding. Now, when they're having this wedding, they're having it in the midst of Voldemort, or however you want to say his name, the primary villain being loose. He's loose, he's causing havoc, people are disappearing, there's, fell whispers on the air, like it's a dark time, Think of like London under the bombings, right, during the Battle of Britain in World War II, right? Like it's a dark time. And it really has this heavy overtones of dark evil that's lurking out there, and there's a war on, and there's things happening. And in the midst of it, they're going to have this wedding, and Harry, the main character in the movies, I don't remember from the book too much, says something to the effect of like, I don't care about a wedding. Like, I need to go out there and find these Horcruxes. Plot detail, if you don't know, it doesn't matter. And I need to go out there and, like, you know, hunt Voldemort and, like, you know, fight the war. I need to go out and fight the war. I don't care about this stupid wedding. Why are we even doing this? I can't remember if someone says it in the movies or the book, or if it's just kind of the tone of the scene or my own adaptation. I should remember. We've seen the movies quite a few times in my house. But essentially, the point that I always take away from that is, of course you need to celebrate a wedding in the midst of the war. Of course you do. You need to celebrate, stop and smell the roses, right? You need to celebrate the wins and the victories and the joys and the happiness in the midst of the war, right? Like that's important. The wedding and the celebration doesn't detract from the war. It doesn't prevent you from the war. In fact, it fuels your motivation and reason for fighting the evil to begin with. And that's how I feel about celebrating Trump's victory. Now, if you've been watching this channel for any amount of time, you've probably seen one of my multiple videos where I openly have criticized Trump on multiple different things on multiple different occasions. And all those criticisms, that's what I was looking for, all those criticisms still stand, right? Like, that all still stands. I'm still highly critical of Trump in multiple areas. Like his bump stock ban. Remember that one? That was a fun one. Or when he bragged about raising the age of people being the age of 21, raise the age of smoking, buying nicotine and stuff to 21. So you don't have to be 21 to buy tobacco. Before it was 18, back when America was more free, right? Like what of his policies actually stuck around to make changes, right? Like there's a lot of things I'm critical of Trump on. But let's not pretend that that somehow he's not the better option here, right? I was talking with one of my buddies tonight, and he's like, yeah, if you want to say, oh, both parties are equally bad, my buddy is saying, and I would agree with him, he's like, yeah, I got sympathy for that. Like, yeah, of course. But let's not pretend that one's not massively worse than the other here. And I would agree with that, right? One is definitely worse than the other. So I think that at this point, right, you've got to stop and celebrate the wins. And I just saw it in multiple places today where both online and in my comments and in emails and stuff where people are saying, well, yeah, we won, but don't fall asleep. You got to stay vigilant. Danger's just around the corner. I saw a tweet by a pastor that I used to be a really big fan of, been less of in the past couple of years, but and he said something effective like, God has saved us from judgment by not giving us Kamala Harris, is what he was implying, but he's brought us a different judgment. And I thought, shut your mouth. Like, why are you talking? Like, be quiet. Someone had replied in the comments to that one, can you at least feign joy? Which I thought was hilarious. And I think, yeah, I don't know why you're saying that. Like, today should be a day of celebration, right? But it was a somber, this isn't great, but it's certainly, I guess it's better kind of deal. I had made a short today, or I guess yesterday when this posts, because these post at like 2 or 3 in the morning. So I'd made a short, something effect, and it was like 5 seconds. And I just said, hey, Trump won. Like, relax, chill out. I told you, it was going to be fine. Just whatever. And someone replied, left a comment on my video that was like, wrong mindset. Our enemies have the long view in mind. We need to be taking the long view. And I just replied and I said, hey man, Trump won. Like, it's a happy day. Chill out, And I got an email today from a very reputable gun gear company that I like quite a bit. And so I'm not going to say the name because I don't want to drag them, because I like them. But their email, the title of the email was something like, Trump is a tourniquet. Now's the time to get to work. I'm sure a lot of you got that email too, and you know what I'm talking about. But I got that email and I thought, guys, it hasn't even been 24 hours. It hasn't even been 24 hours. Allow people a moment to celebrate. Allow people a moment to have some joy and some just happy fun. I was texting with my buddies today, and I was like, hey man, isn't this great? And we were trading memes, and I was having fun. And he said, well, we'll see what kind of like policies he can do, and I'm interested to see what kind of effectual changes he had. And I just texted him back and I said, hey man, I'm much less concerned with policy today, and I'm much more concerned with like drinking bourbon and smoking a cigar, okay? And like laughing at memes. Like that's what I'm concerned with today. And I just think that maybe it's the American in us. Maybe it's the fear-mongering, which I guess I'll get to that in a minute. But there's just something in it, guys, where it's like we can't learn to take a W here. What is it with us that we can't learn to take the W? Right? Again, that email just blew me away because I'm like, it hasn't even been 24 hours. Can we give people a day, preferably a week, to just relax, to just be happy, to just have some joy and some celebration, right? Like, why are we always on to the next doom and gloom thing? It feels very much like we're just kind of like a whipped dog. And we've gotten so used to losing, right, that we can't even enjoy winning. It's weird. Now, if you want to say, well, Dylan, the Republicans are going to get in and they're going to betray us. I remember Paul Ryan. I remember when I voted to repeal Obamacare and then they voted to keep it. And okay, all right. Hey, again, we can have that discussion. I'm just saying today's not the day to have that discussion. I'm just saying today's a day to have some celebration and some joy and some general levels of happiness here. Today's a day where we shouldn't be sorrowful, right? There are seasons for being sorrowful. There are seasons for putting your head down and grinding. There are seasons for celebration. And this is a season for celebration. And you shouldn't necessarily cross those seasons, right? You shouldn't make one something that it's not. You should enjoy the seasons for what they're worth. So I was just really thinking about this thing where we can't take a W. Now maybe it's the whip dog thing, right? People are just so beat down. They're just always used to the progressives being on the march. That could be it. I think there's something to the fear mongering. I think that unfortunately a lot of the marketing in the gun world, prepper community world, right, revolves around a fear mongering, and it's tough because it's like to some degree it makes sense, right? Like I taught permit to carry classes for almost not 10 years, but like 7 or 8 years, and it's a permit to carry class, right? So we're talking about your worst day and dangers coming, and what are you going to do to be ready for that, and how are you handling your gun, and what's the laws, and so there's, and I would get all kinds of questions like, well, what about this and what about that, and so we're talking about this bad case scenario, this worst case scenario, right, and how to deal with that, and I think there's a way to be, and I don't know if I did this super well at the time, okay, but I think there's a way to be prepared for the problem, but not run by the problem. Right? To not be overwhelmed by the problem. You look at like a lot of like prepper channels and it's always kind of the same, like prepare now, disaster is coming. And it's like they're just beating that drum. You're always supposed to be preparing, disaster's always right around the corner. And I'm just like, I don't know, we've been saying that for a long time, And have things gotten better? Well, I don't know, debatable, right? Maybe not, probably not. Things gotten worse? Yeah, okay, probably. But has the disaster struck yet, right? When was the last time these people had to, like, dig into their 25 years of food storage? You know what I mean? I'm not talking, I guess maybe there's some hurricanes and stuff. So, okay, maybe then, right? Or maybe there's, like, some power outages for, like, 12 hours. Or let's get really wild, let's say 20 hours, But, like, when has the zombie Armageddon struck? Right? Now, am I saying that having all that stuff is stupid and those channels are worthless? No, of course not. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying that if our marketing material is always this doom and gloom, disaster is coming, be prepared because it's right around the corner and it can get you, just anytime it can get you, man, I don't want to market like that. I don't want to talk like that. I don't want to put out content like that. I don't want to I don't want to fear monger you into buying one of my chest rigs, right? I don't want to fear monger you into doing your dry fire or whatever. Fear is an excellent short-term motivator, but it's not a good long-term one. Not usually. And two, I think that it becomes this like idol, like this oppressive, black-pilled, doom and gloom thing that just hangs over you like a ghoul, or like a Dementor for my Harry Potter fans. And see, I brought that back there. See, I'm pretty proud of that. Or just like hangs over you, and it's this oppressive, driving force thing. And I don't want to play that game. I don't want to play that game. I don't want to play that game for a couple of reasons. One, I don't want to live in fear, right? I'm not interested in living my life in fear. And people say, oh, well, it's not fear to always be prepared. And I agree. I mean, there's wisdom in being prepared to deal with life's problems, right? I wear my seatbelt. I carry a gun every day. There's wisdom in that, right? So I don't have a problem with that. But I think that the way we talk about it a lot always comes down to this fear-mongering. And it builds this mentality of you always have your back against the wall. They're always right around the corner to get you. And so you always, constant vigilance, right? You always have to be ready. And the moment you let your guard down, you lose. And the problem with that is no one can do that all the time. And it creates this loser mindset that prevents you from joy. It prevents you from having joy, right? Because you can't stop to celebrate because there's a war on. You can't stop to celebrate because as soon as you do, that's when they're going to get you. You can't stop to celebrate a victory because it wasn't really a victory. I mean, okay, yeah, but what about the deep state, and what about all the money still going to Israel, and what about this and that and the other thing? And you can't stop to actually enjoy anything because there's always another ghoul right there to get you. I don't want to live like that. I don't want to talk like that. I don't want to live like that. Now, I mean, hey, full disclosure, right? I mean, I have a series on this channel that I'll update every once in a while called The Point of No Return. and I'm talking about the fact that America's past the point of no return. I think it's a ride to the bottom. It's just a matter of how bumpy it's going to be. And we can have that discussion. I'm not saying we can't do that, but I am saying that I am absolutely taking stops along that journey, and maybe I'm wrong about that, by the way. I'm absolutely taking stops along that journey to celebrate. And this is a thing we need to celebrate. I don't even care, even if you're a moderate Trump fan, which I would consider myself, moderate to low Trump fan, this is something you need to celebrate and be happy and take a deep breath and smell the victory and drink those liberal tears and laugh and have fun. Like, you got to have fun with it, guys. If we don't stop to celebrate the victories along the way, what are you even fighting for? You know what I mean? Like, what is even the point? If it's just a constant grind, never-ending war, they're always going to get you. You always got to be fighting. You're always grinding. Yeah, you won, but it doesn't matter. Keep going. Like, what are you even fighting for then? Just the fight? Just to be depressed? Like, I don't understand. Like, we got to understand where this mentality goes, right? You have to understand that you need rest cycles in anything in life, right? When I'm lifting, right, and I'm trying to lift heavy, and I'm trying to work my way up to new weights. I'm at the stage now in that intermediate advanced phase. I don't know, somewhere in there. I've been lifting poorly for a very long time, and in the past 5 or 8 years, I've probably gotten a lot better about how I've lifted. So I'm probably somewhere in that intermediate category, meaning my lifts don't advance as quickly as they used to. So I have to go through rest cycles, right? Like, I'm gonna push the weight up, and then I'm gonna take a week and I'm gonna have a rest week. and I'm lifting less weight that week intentionally so that all my muscles can rest and catch up so that I can start that cycle over again, and try to get a little more weight in the bar. You have to have rest cycles. You go to sleep every night, right? You don't work on the weekends or wherever. Some of you can be like, oh, Dylan, I work 80 hours a week. Well, you shouldn't. Okay? You shouldn't. That's a bad idea. It's not how God designed it. You have to have rest cycles. And you have to have celebration cycles. And you have to stop and get home and sit at the table with your wife and laugh with your kids at some silly stuffed animal cartoon and drink a beer. You got to do that. You got to have the rest and the reward cycles and the celebration and the joy. If it's just a constant grind all the time, you will grind yourself down. They won't need to beat you because they already beat you in the up here. They beat you in the mental battle, right? So I really wanted to make this video to talk about how I think we need to celebrate those wins, boys. We need to learn to take a W. We need to laugh and have fun and enjoy it. I don't know what's going to happen in 6 months. And, people are talking about, well, what if they're not going to certify it and they're going to try to, muck it up now so it's harder for him to come in later. And then when he gets in, they're going to, do the lawfare thing and they're going to try to put him in prison and, whatever. Like, there's a million things that could happen. I don't know. And like I said, right now, I don't care. That's not relevant. What's relevant, what matters right now, it's taking that W. It's taking that win. It's taking it to the bank and laughing and having fun and enjoying the fact that the elected president of the United States for the next 4 years is Donald Trump. They tried to kill him. They tried to put him in prison, right? They tried everything they could. They impeached him twice last time. Who knows how many impeachment hearings it'll be this time? And you need to learn to just laugh and enjoy it because they did everything they could to get rid of this guy and they couldn't do it. They couldn't do it. Last year, it looks like they manufactured something like 15 million votes, right? Like you got Kamala Harris got like 66 million votes. Last I checked today. Who knows? Maybe that number's changed a little bit. Joe Biden, the most popular Democratic president in history, got 80 million. 80 million. There's no way Joe Biden got 80 million votes, right? And people are out there and they're like, well, I don't understand. Like the math doesn't add up. Like liberals are out there. It doesn't add up. Like Joe Biden got 80 million. Where's the fraud here? Like how did she only get 65? And it's like, oh, I agree. There's something doesn't add up all right. So you got to learn to take the W. Enjoy it. Laugh. Have a good day. Have a good week. Have a good month. Enjoy it. It's Christmas next month. We're about to start Advent. It's the happiest time of the year because we're remembering that Jesus came to earth, right? Like, I'm going to take those seasons and I'm going to celebrate and I'm going to enjoy it. I'm not going to live in doom and gloom. I'm not going to try to be a channel about doom and gloom. I want to be wise. Yeah, and I hope that if you stick around on this channel, that you get that. I hope that if you read my books or buy my gear, whatever, you're in on that ethos with me. But I don't want to do the doom and gloom thing, boys. I don't want to live like that. I don't want to live defeated my whole life. If I can't teach my kids to be happy, what am I teaching them? You know what I mean? Grow up someday so you can be like Dad, who's miserable and angry all the time. Like, are you serious? Like, what kind of inspiration is that? What kind of aspiration is that? Right? How can you be a leader of men if you're blackpilled all the time? Spoiler alert, you probably can't. The best leaders in history were eternally optimistic. Right? Doesn't matter who it is. You look at them all. Alexander, Caesar, Churchill, right? They all believed that at the end of the day, their vision, Napoleon, George Washington, their vision was going to win out. They were going to win. They were going to own the field. They believed in the victory of whatever it is they were trying to do, right? And they could see it. And because they could see it, they could lead people there. You can't lead someone anywhere if you're blackpilled. No blackpilling. No blackpilling. You can't do it, right? So, I hope that as you reflect on that, you would join me in not wanting to let the black pills rule, and not wanting to be constantly on the edge of your seat for this next disaster that's going to get you, that's right around the corner. That you would want to join me in saying, hey, I'm going to live joyously. If you haven't read the Chronicles of Narnia, you should. You should read it to your kids, because you're going to get a lot out of it too. Your kids will love it, because it's amazing literature. But there's this part in The Silver Chair where they're going to rescue this guy, and he's underground, and he's been kept underground for a long time, and he's under this spell, and he's forgotten where he's from Narnia, from the surface. And this witch is trying to cast a spell on them so that they too would forget where they're from. And she's like, well, where are you from? And they're like, well, we're from Narnia. And she's like, what a great, wonderful, made-up name. Where is that? And they're like, well, it's on the surface. And she's like, what is the surface? And they're like struggling through this foggy haze and trying to explain it. And she's like, oh, gee, what a wonderful made-up land, and so forth and so on. But at one point, one of the characters says, I'm going to live like a Narnian, even if there isn't a Narnia. Right? Meaning, it would be better for me to live a life as if Narnia were true, even if it's not true. It's better, it's more joyous for me, it's a better life to be a Narnian, to live like it's true, even if it's not. And I believe that about Jesus, by the way. There's a little Pascal's wager in there for you, right? Some of you are like, what does that mean? You can Google it, no big deal. There's a little bit of Pascal's wager in there. And there's a little bit of just like, look, you have to celebrate the wins. You have to live a life of joy. If you're not living a life of joy, and you're just in the cave and in the gloom, again, what's the point? What are you fighting for? What are you teaching people? How are you leading people? How are you going to affect any change in the world whatsoever? So, take your time this week. Celebrate. Enjoy that W. Drink your beverage of choice. Smoke a cigar. Have fun. Trade those memes. Send me all your memes. I love your memes. You can send those to me on Twitter or Instagram or something. And live free. Die free. Remember that this country was forged by brave, brave men who were eternally optimistic about the final vision. Right? They had that vision in their mind. And they went there. And we can go there too. Do brave deeds. And endure.